Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another inspiring episode of Changepreneurs Podcast, where we bring conversations that spark change. I'm your host, Priyanka, a passionpreneur. Joined with me today, a seasoned life coach, Shrish Raj. And today, together, we are quite excited to bring you a special guest, uh, who's really, really special, Delna Rajesh. She is Namaste, Delna.
Okay.
She is a spiritual psychotherapist, a Reiki master, and a relationship breakthrough coach. Basically, she helps you fix the most important relationship of all, the one with ourselves. So, over to you, listeners. Just in case if there is something wrong here, you know who to contact. That's Delna, right? Because once everything is fixed here, I think everything will start falling into place. Delnas also is on a mission to help 1 lakh women truly thrive, not just survive, in every area of life. Through a Kintsugi Healing Mastership program, she's blending deep psychological tools with spiritual wisdom to help women break barriers, shift their mindset, and raise their energy to whole new levels. From supporting women through tough marriages, grief, and even cancer recovery, to guiding moms of special kids and IVF journeys, with energy healing, Delna's work is as deep as it is powerful. Get ready for a heartfelt, eye opening conversation with the amazing Delna Rajesh. Welcome, Delna.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here, Priyanka and Sirish. It's truly an honor to be here and part of this. And I'm looking
Lovely.
forward to a wonderful chat.
So, why don't we begin with your journey, Delna? Why don't you tell our audience, how it all started, what inspired you, a little bit about you, who Delna is.
Yes. So I started my journey way back in 2000. I was a young college kid excited about just learning new things. So I remember we were just going back home one day, walking our way back to the railway station, and one of my friends said, "You know what? There's a Reiki seminar happening. Chalna hai kya?" So I said, "All right, it's very close by, and let's go and see what happens." And all this time, what happened is, I'd been a very shy kind of kid, very introvert, uh, very timid also in school. So just to overcome this, I joined the road track club. The moment I went to college, I said, let me get into the road track. I have to overcome all these barriers. And I was on this mission to sort of break through my barriers. So I thought, if I go and I learn this new thing, which I didn't even know much about, maybe I become confident. So let me go and try. And in Reiki, I was very lucky. I had an offline workshop back then. So, you're on that attunement chair and you're sitting, and I remember my master put her hand on me, and those 15 minutes of bliss of what happened in my body, I felt something inside me move. And that was the moment I realized this is something magical. This is not a normal thing. I had never experienced anything of that sort before. And yes, that was the time I think I got introduced to healing. And after that, hota hai na, because you experienced one, you want to know more about it. That thirst for the first time, it got generated because you experienced something that you didn't know existed. So then I went on to do other things, like I went, college ke piche there was Brahma Kumaris, and then there was so many other courses that were there, NLP and other things. So I kept sort of exploring, experimenting with different things during my college life. And then I was normal, ambitious. You want to do your MBA, get into corporate and all of that. And then again, I think one of the years in 2007 or something, I hit a roadblock, and my world crashed literally. So you're peaking, and then suddenly you're as if what was I even doing. So that was a time where I really went through, I would say, a rough patch. And through that, Reiki was the one thing that I could resonate with strongest. So I could not reach my previous Reiki master, so I found another Reiki master, and she's also such a wonderful woman. So I went through that whole phase of healing, and with her through so many different modalities. She's also Helio Life teacher. So we went through the Reiki program and the Helio Life and hypnotherapy and so many other beautiful things. And that's where I discovered that there is so much more to me, and there is a part of me that connects with this so deeply that no matter what I do for my career, this would always be the most integral part of my life. So I'm earning, so I can do more courses. I would literally, I would say I have to get promoted because I have to learn this. So I would start planning my work around the courses I wanted to do and the experiences I wanted to have in the, so to say, spiritual or healing or therapy. Uh, you know, those experiences are what matter to me. That's where it all began, and then here I am helping others go through the same journey or similar journeys. That, yeah.
That's very
Very
nice.
interesting, Delna. Sorry, continue, Priyanka.
And it's just two things I wanted to say. One, when you talked about, your master touching your head, and I could actually, I had goosebumps when you said that. Trust me, it just touched me. That's one. And two, I think one of our offline conversations, I remember you telling me or guiding me, Delna, that there's something that, like, for example, I told you that I'm not very disciplined when it comes to Kriya Yoga, and you said, when you attached it to some goal, you will automatically, come back to you. So I really liked the way you had already implemented and you suggested the same path for me. So thank you so much. Over to you, Shrish.
Yeah. So very interesting, Delna. And in the last conversation that we had, you mentioned that Reiki kept on pulling you back. You had a very successful corporate career, and now you are a successful master healer. So would you like to share the experience of how it kept on pulling you back?
So, as I said, I started when I was 16. Then again, in 2004 or 2007. So, life brings you, situations where you sort of, I won't say you break down. Sometimes you break down, sometimes you're about to break down. And I knew that every time I was about to go through turmoil, Reiki was like my ultimate, होता है ना, सबका एक ब्रह्मास्त्र होता है, so मेरे लिए वो Reiki है. So every moment, whenever I touched the lows, I would know I would start, working on myself. And one amazing thing my master taught me is कभी भी help मांगने में शर्म नहीं रखना है. So you have to, the moment I would be, going through an emotional phase, I would also call upon all my friends who were Reiki channels and ask them, please channel Reiki to me. I'll do it in return for you later when I'm better. So it was sort of my way of life. It had become a way of life. Then in 2007, again, I had an episode of, how do I say, depression. And it was a very, how do I say, it was a deep, it took me a lot of time to sort of bounce back. And since then, it was a regular thing. I used it. So I wanted to compete. I was a dancer. I wanted to compete. So I used it for my competitive work. Because I had to practice 5 hours a day. So 5 hours in the studio, and then my entire work with the corporate, that was another 8 to 12 hours. And then with that, I had the energy to, I had to have the energy to cope with all of whatever else was happening. So I used that. I would do more Reiki every time I needed more strength. Then I used to do a lot of events. So every time there was a major thing that was about to come, I would sit and start, working on my goals and on my own energy and see how I'm centered, whether I'm centered before I'm walking in or not. So it's always been there. Then somewhere around 2016, I witnessed another, phase where, both my husband and I, we were both working in the corporate. So you know how it is in consultancies. We both had very long working hours, and I love my job. So I was very, it had to be, done well and done perfectly, and you had to have that outcome. So what happened is, my son, who was back then maybe 1.5 years, my husband would be in one room and I would be in another room, and we're doing our work. And of course, we tried our best to sort of, come together and manage. But we understood that, our son was missing out on that personal attention or the time that we should have or we could have given. And one day there was a crisis moment where his daycare teacher called us, and she said, you know what, your child has not smiled for 5 to 7 days. And I said, how can that be? He's a 1.5-year-old. How is it even possible that a child has not smiled? So I went to the doctor, and we discovered that, all right, there's something not right. So instantly I switched to sabbatical. I tried part-time, didn't work. Then I moved to sabbatical, and I saw, let me see how we can work around this. And that's when I realized that no, this needs a lot more. So I took a break from my corporate career, and that's where my entire Reiki journey began. And I began all over again. And this time it was the mother. So it was with a lot more junoon. I studied psychology. I studied child psychology, So I worked with my son rigorously for a year and a half. It takes time and lots of Reiki. And then that's where I realized that this is something that is never going to leave me, and I'm never going to leave it. So that moment on, it became deeper and deeper. And then since I was at home, I would also volunteer to do more work, in different organizations and in different places, support my master as well. So yeah, after that, I think it never stopped. And every time there is a case, I go a little more deeper because every case has different aspects to it. There are different healing therapies that work better, and how to sort of merge that with Reiki. So every time there is a case, I will go back, I will study around it. And that, each case made me a little stronger in terms of understanding what is happening in the mind, what is happening in the emotion, what is happening in the energy. That's how I think, it became, so it keeps pulling me back. Even today, with each case, I keep growing, I would say, with Reiki.
Wow, that's something. It keeps pulling you back. I think you've been sent to the earth to help other people. Just curious, you mentioned that you had a different Reiki master when you were in college and a different one when around 2007 when you needed a Reiki master. So what should one be looking for when they're looking for a Reiki master? What qualities or what exactly should be uh, the qualifications or something that one should look for when they're finding a master for themselves?
I don't think you can do it that way.
Okay.
I think Reiki pulls you in. It is, that's my feeling and my way of looking at it. When you're ready, you will get pulled to the right master.
Okay.
Because your energy has to somewhere align with the master's energy, their ethos, their principles, their style of teaching, and what they have to offer. So when there is something that you require, a particular kind of healing, a particular kind of pattern, a particular type of teaching you require, you will be guided automatically. Life takes you to the master who will be able to provide you exactly that what you need. So there's no shopping here. We get guided
Okay.
to where we belong.
So just like when you are ready, the guru will prakat. So it's the same thing. जब आप तैयार हो गए गुरु आ जाएगा.
Very simply put, right? It is said, like, for ages, different gurus of different practices, be it Reiki, be it Kriya Yoga, or they say that when somebody is ready, the guru will appear in front of him or her, and that's so true. Um I mean, now on a different subject, like, because you said, like, you revisited Reiki practice when your child was having, particular issue. So is it safe to say that kids can learn Reiki,
Oh,
or
absolutely.
and how the parents would know, what is the first step? Like, when we know somebody has to learn or go to school, they either choose their mother tongue, to be going to the school, or it can be English. So how parents should decide or on, teaching their kids Reiki? What is the first step?
I would say for kids, there is no question of deciding. You must put them into it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I got my son attuned the moment, I think he was 3.5 or 4 years old when I got him attuned, and I got him attuned from my master only.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I had that attachment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have my youngest student is also around 3.5 to 4 years old. She didn't even understand English back then. Her mother had to sit and translate in Marathi, whatever I was speaking to her. Now, why kids should learn early is because when from the beginning, when the mind is clean, you understand about your energy, your chakras, your thought process, what chakra is controlling what within you, and what food to have to be able to balance that. Half your job is done. There's half half the trauma can just be avoided when you know your systems are not working right. So for kids, it is very simple. We don't work with all these complicated concepts. We work very simple with colors and food, and then just placing your hand on each part of the body. So we say, anger kahan baitha hai? Yahan baitha hai. So when you're feeling angry, where will you put your hand? Here, angry. So, but they understand that when I feel angry, this is where it's happening. When I'm feeling lonely, this is where it's happening. So the moment I feel a certain thing, automatically my hand should go there. And because they're attuned already, the flow of energy starts to happen. So what can become toxic and what can become patterns and patterns of repeated events in their life, they're able to identify, nip it in the bud and not let it happen. So that mindfulness happens when you're a child. And with that, I think a lot of clutter is eliminated anyway. My Reiki kids are so amazing. They're much smarter than all these adults. I think if you listen to the way they talk, you will just wonder whom you're talking to.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So
Today's kids are
in any case,
next.
same things. They are in case smarter than us.
Absolutely.
Smarter.
In fact, we start from the womb. When the mother is pregnant,
Wow.
you do a lot of work. Like even when I was carrying my son, no matter how much pressure I had at work, I had that, I made the time to work on all the 9 months. I had to channel Reiki and because that is the time you can you work on their sanskaras. That's the time you can work on their energy. So I think that is the best gift a parent can give. Before the child is out in this world, where you are able to work on the energy in the womb with the Garbh Sanskar and Reiki and all the other practices. You see, those children are a little different. They are a little, एक स्थिरता होती है, calmness होती है that you will not see in other children. The children are fidgety all the time, and then there are these kids who are very calm, very sorted, very centered, and they have their own issues, but there is a difference you will see. So that's where you begin, right? In the beginning. Those are called Reiki babies. I call them Reiki babies. When you work for all 9 months and work on the soul, the nurturing of the soul before they come out.
In fact, there were, sometime back, there were very videos also popular, on YouTube, right? Where kids speaking, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a Gayatri mantra, very, child, like, So yeah, what you're saying is absolutely right. It is evidently visible. You can see the difference, and it is for the greater good, right? For the life who is not even, taken birth. We are helping that child to be ready for the difficult world, or I would say for the difficulties that might come, at regular intervals. So that's really great. One thing you also mentioned about, it's completely, I'm shifting tracks. You talked about colors, right? And coincidentally, all three of us today have one color in common, that is green. I'm also wearing my specs, green in color. We all. So anything that you have to say about this? We haven't definitely planned, right? Our listeners should know this is coincidentally happened. So what does color green represent, and does it have anything to do with the energy that is, transmitting through this podcast?
Absolutely. The vibration you are at, that color you will attract.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
God. You're giving me goosebumps, Delna. Sorry, continue.
The vibration you are at, that color you will attract. And what is blocked for you, you will have very little of that color in use.
And green represents what?
Green represents the heart chakra. The unconditional love, connecting, being connected, being one with the cosmos. Where you and me are not two separate entities, there is no question of the ego. What I wish for you, I wish for me. What I do for myself, I will do for you. So when you have that connectedness, that oneness, that universal love, and infinite universal support, infinite universal love, receiving and giving, both. So that is the heart chakra, and green is connected deeply to the heart. So heart se connected lungs bhi hote hain, and that's why we say you should go breathe, be in nature, taken a lot of fresh air, because the heart chakra is connected to the lung chakra, and there's so much depth to, जीवन जीने की इच्छा भी वहाँ, the desire, the zest for life is all sitting there. The joy, the excitement to live fully is also, all there. So yes, the colors are, and you must pay attention to what you don't have in your wardrobe. What colors are you not using? Not just wardrobe, I'm just saying around you. Like, you have your home and you have different colors. So just notice there are 7 colors in the rainbow, the 7 colors of your chakras. What is the color you're not using, or you're using the least? And then you understand the chakra science, and you see if that chakra is very, very active for you. You see if that part of your life is blossoming or not.
Wow. It's a very interesting way to look at life.
I'm very happy to listen to her answer. I'm wearing a green t-shirt and green sounds very nice. So I'm happy to hear about that. So Delna, you've mentioned chakras and chakra science quite a few times. So for our listeners, just give us a bird's eye view of what exactly you mean when you say chakra science, chakras.
So chakras are basically energy centers. Okay. So if you look at us, actually, my question to you is, who are you? If I have to ask, are you the physical body? Are you the mental body? Are you the emotional body? What are you exactly?
I'm lost here.
Okay.
Maybe some form of energy,
Some form of energy, right?
Yeah.
So actually, if we understand a little bit of thoda sa quantum physics, they say in every atom, 90 to 99% is space. Yes, space element. So actually, we are made up of, if you look at us even as body, we are made up of what? Space element. There is water, there is Agni inside of us, there is the Prithvi Tattva, all of it is there. But if every atom, every molecule is space is that element that holds it together and that separates one thing from another. So this physical body itself is made of space. Right? Now, actually, chakras are that energy, the energy body that we are holding. You can call it different names. You call it your aura. You call it, and there are 114 chakras in our body. There are 114. There are 7 major energy points in our body governing different parts of our life, and then there are lot of minor energy centers in our life at different points which govern other minute parts of our life. And these 114 energy centers in our body are connected again in turn with 72,000 plus nadis. Okay, 72,000 plus nadis through which your prana is flowing. There is incoming and there is outgoing. Now this energy center, wherever it is in our body, each energy center governs certain organs of our life, certain organs in the body, and certain aspects of our life. So, for example, the Mooladhara is where your spine touches the chair, wherever you're sitting, right? That is the base chakra, the root chakra. That is, it represents your entire materialistic life, including your physical body, your physical health. मतलब कोई अगर बार बार बीमार हो रहा है, somebody is falling ill over and over again, one disease after another, that means the root chakra is not at its optimal energy. It is highly imbalanced. So depending on the issue we have in our life, we can actually go back, understand which energy center is not in balance. And that is the whole idea of healing. When we heal with any modality, we are actually working not with the physical body. We are working with the chakra body, with the energy centers in our body. And when we start balancing this energy, so chakra is like a disc of energy moving. Now, sometimes, if, for example, if this is your normal speed, you are at say 100. Okay, this is your optimal normal. And instead of this optimal 100, suddenly something has happened, you feel sapped of energy, and this 100 becomes 20 for you. And suddenly you're feeling loss of energy, you're feeling drained, you're not feeling like doing anything, you're feeling maybe lethargic, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling low. You don't have that energy. You feel it, right? All of us feel it sometimes. There's no energy to do it. There's no desire to do it. That's where you are actually vibrating at a lower frequency. That chakra that is governing that part of your life is low on energy. Now, there are also times where something may happen and it becomes very hyper. So if you see, sometimes you are very anxious, you're very feverish about something. We want, we want to control, we want to make sure. This constant panic and anxiety around different areas, different things. That's where your chakra is very hyperactive, right? Like even, I say verbal diarrhea. Jab aap bolte ho, you don't know what you're talking. That's also a throat chakra imbalance. There are times where we plan and we know exactly what we want to communicate, how we want to. And then there are times where we are just talking non-stop, not knowing how we are communicating. We just want to release. That is a hyperactive chakra. At the other end, if you bottle up your emotions, it's an underactive chakra. It's blocked. You're not able to express it. So we are constantly oscillating. Low energy, high energy, low energy, high energy. When we work on the chakras or the energy body, we are working on stabilizing this and bringing it back to center, on grounding ourselves. That's what we call grounding, where we bring back our energy frequency to that optimal, ideal, normal frequency that is good for us to function at our optimal best. And that is the whole science of chakra healing. Whether you do it through mudras, you do it through pranayam, you do it through Raj Yoga, you do it through yoga or Reiki or anything. That's the whole concept of it.
So Reiki is essentially energy balance, if I understand it correctly.
It's a lot more than that. We start with energy balance. And as we start working on our chakras, energy balance means balancing different areas of our life. So root chakra is for material. Sacral chakra is again for your emotions, where your relationships and all of that, your pleasure, intimacy, all of that sits. Then you have the solar plexus, which is your Manipura. That's your mental body, your mind, your concept of self, your personality, your perception of yourself, your self-esteem, self-worth, deservability, all of that. Your ambition, ability to attract, manifest, all of that is there. Then you go up, heart chakras again. The support, the love and support you receive from others, and the way you giving and receiving, the universal connect, the deep divine love. And then you have throat, where you are communicating, expressing, understanding your truth, expressing it in a meaningful, impactful manner, in a loving manner. Then you have third eye, where you are working on your, that's your cognitive and your creative brain, and the intuition, and your mental balance, your clarity, your focus, your concentration. And then there's your Sahasrara, where you are, which is your divine connect, your grace, Kripa, that we say, the faith, the grace that flows into our life. So all of these chakras are what we are working on constantly. Reiki initially starts with balancing, and slowly, as you do more work, it starts to expand. So, a lot of people feel कि ये मेरा body है, and there is chakra inside. How you see it in pictures, you see one small dot inside the body, right? Now, chakras are actually connected to our aura. They're layers of our aura. It can be as expanded. और जितने ज़्यादा spiritual लोग होंगे, people who have already attained certain levels of spiritual, their auras will be far more expanded. That's why you say, right? You even see this person, even if their shadow falls upon you, you will be healed. Why is that? Because you're in that aura, you're in that energy center, you're in that energy space. So, chakra is not in the body. The body is in the chakra.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm a bit confused here because all my life, like little, that I'm gaining knowledge about spiritual wisdom, I was always told that, when some meditation processes, they tell you close your eyes and try to, locate the chakra. Let's say if you're talking about the root chakra, so it is, at the lower back of your spine,
Correct.
So now I'm a bit confused here.
That is the center point. It's not
Okay.
like some small thing like this. It's not
I
like a
always felt
small.
that way.
So what I'm trying to say is chakras expand. The more you work on them, this energy center will expand.
Okay.
It grows wider and wider, and the more expanded your chakra is, the more you're able to attract better quality or better things regarding that aspect of your life. So जिनका Vishuddhi chakra is very active, you see, they will not speak. होता है ना, some people will just प्यार से कुछ बोल देंगे, and there'll be people who will be just running to do their work. They don't need to struggle and strive and toil to get their work done. You see celebrities, they don't need to shout, oh, I'm wearing this. They wear something to an award function, next day it's there in the market.
Yeah.
Right? That is power of influence. Now, I'm not saying it's all about the chakra, but what I'm trying to say is when a chakra is really activated, the aspect of life connected to that chakra, you're able to attract better things in your life. Better, for example, when your Swadhisthana chakra is very balanced, the quality of your relationships is going to improve drastically, because the quality of the way you're emotionally regulated is far richer. Your emotional body is far more balanced. You know how to regulate it well. You know how to, maneuver around. The pleasure will be more, or your ability to just enjoy what you have expands. So, irrespective of what you have got in your life, if you are able to enjoy it more, are you going to be a happier person?
Absolutely, yes.
And
So
if
why
you are
would
a
somebody?
yes, and if you are a happier person, will you be able to attract better things also and manifest even better?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So each chakra, when it expands, it opens an entire, how do I say, an entire world of lot more that you can attract, a better quality of people and situation. I won't say people, it's the same people, but the way they treat you
Mhm.
is going to shift, not because they are changing, because of your energy. The way your energy holds the space is going to define how you're going to be treated. So a lot changes when the chakra expands. So Reiki helps you work on that. And then slowly, as you said the other day, the Kundalini, working on the Kundalini, it's a long process. It's not some shortcut thing. But yes, eventually we can work on that, on chakra expansion,
Mhm.
chakra activation, chakra expansion, chakra awakening. And after all the 7 chakras are awakened, then only you are eligible for enlightenment.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh,
But Reiki can take you there and help you all the way till the path of moksha. That is what.
sounds like lot of work.
Mhm.
And it sounded to now, you know what I was visualizing when you were telling about chakras, a magnetic field around me, the center point inside me, and there's a magnetic field around me. So if I'm attracting good people, it means my chakra is good.
That means your
Absolutely,
chakra
yes.
is healthy. Everybody's chakra is good. Your chakra is
This is
healthy and
healthy.
it's
Okay,
balanced.
better way of saying it. And then from there, energy balance, and after that, how does actually this energy? So again, for choosing the right word, how does Reiki actually work? The channel of energy, like you mentioned most of the times, how does it actually work?
So, to begin with, what happens in a Reiki class, the first and the most important thing, apart from the theory, uh, is a process called the attunement process. Now, I'm talking about Usui Reiki. I'm not talking about any other form, because in Japan, Reiki is another name for healings. A lot of modalities. There are so many different forms of Reiki. I'm referring to Usui Reiki. Now, in Usui Reiki, there's one very important, the most important part of it is something we call the Shakti path, or the initiation, the attunement process. Okay. What is attunement? Attunement. Okay. Tuning your energy back to the central vortex. That is what happens in that process. So when we are born, our energy is at a certain level. Have you seen a child ever depressed, ever sad, ever with all these toxic problems, depression, anxiety, fear? Right? Their energy is clean. So we are all born with that absolute clear energy, balanced energy. Then as life happens, one memory, another memory, another memory, another memory, we sort of develop certain concepts, certain beliefs, certain patterns, uh, and it piles on. Now that at some point of time leads to chakra imbalance. What we do during the attunement is the Reiki master becomes a channel. It is not their energy. We just become a channel. So we invoke the masters who are the lineage. We invoke the divine, and we ask the masters to do the attunement through us. So this attunement is not coming from your Reiki master. It is coming from the ultimate lineage. It is coming from the gurus, the masters. And what we are doing in the process there is we are aligning that energy back to the universal divine Reiki energy, back to the vortex. So the chakra cleansing happens, and then you are sort of realigned to that infinitely powerful divine Reiki energy. And after that, we surrender to that energy. We allow that energy to take over. So every time we work on our chakras, and this energy has the power to transform the entire Akash Tattva within us. So the space element, as we said, I was referring 90%, 99% of our body is space. All the elements that are held together are also held together by space. They're separated also by space. So inside me there is space, outside me there is space. If I am completely space. Now Reiki has the power to transform this entire space element and everything it holds and everything it separates. So when we work with a Reiki intention, that is the transformation that we work on. So from the space element, it changes the energy body. When the energy body is balanced and aligned, it changes the mental mind body. When the mental body is aligned, it changes the action. That is your Agni Tattva. So we are going the 5 elements: space element, air element, Agni, that is your action. Action converts to emotion. That is, and when your emotion is intense and you really believe you want that to happen with deep emotion and all the other factors are aligned, that's where the healing happens. Whether it is cancer, it is anything in the physical body, in the mental body, in the emotional body, in the spiritual body, that's the process. That's where the healing happens. So from space to energy to mind to emotion to action to emotion, and then finally you start seeing that manifest in your real life. So you will start seeing a change in your body, in your relationships, in what you're attracting, in the way you're communicating, all your chakras. Whatever is the intention you're working on, all of that can manifest.
Can ask you a follow-up question? Like you mentioned about cancer specifically, right? Because there was a very small phase in my life, like some of the doctors were saying that, it might be cancer in my case. Uh, so does it not also have to be, aligned with discipline, what you eat? See, because like when you say, like there might be a misjudgment, in the listeners, right, out there. They might see that, okay, Reiki kar lo to bas hai, or along with Reiki, they should also be disciplined, they should also be eating healthy, all of that. Like
Yes.
maybe if you could shed some light on that, that will be helpful.
Not just for cancer, for any kind of goal manifestation.
Correct.
Right? It's not like, it's like, being that child and saying, I prayed to God, so I should do well in my exam.
Right.
You have to study also, right? You have to prepare for
Right.
it. So along with Reiki, action towards your goal is a must. And action towards your goal has to happen with complete surrender and faith that it is going to happen. I'm doing my 1000%. So when I ask these girls to, these women to take a leap of faith, or, they'll say, but ma'am, kahan se aayega? I see, the first step is you act as if वो आ गया है, and you start channeling Reiki and you believe कहीं से भी आएगा. I don't care कहाँ से आ रहा है, कहीं से भी आएगा, but आएगा. If you don't take your step forward and you don't take action towards healing or towards whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, how is it going to work anyway? So you have to take your action. The energy body will support you. It will help you get those opportunities. It will help you identify those opportunities. It will help you see clearly. It will help you take better action. It will keep you energetic. It will help you if you want to be disciplined and you have a certain plan. It will help you stay on track. It will get you that person who will be your accountability partner and nudge you till you do it right. But action is your headache. It's your responsibility. So you have to take charge of it. It's your thing to do. It's nobody else can chew your food for you. So on your healing journey or your journey to manifesting any goal, the inner work that has to be done is your responsibility. And Reiki will support you with everything else, the universe around it, to make it happen.
Understood.
So the desire has to be there, the action has to be there, and then Reiki can help
And the
you.
surrender has to be there.
Surrender has to be there. And I'm very curious, like, can anything go wrong also in a Reiki session? Any side effects? Any
What is
harmful
wrong?
effects?
What is
No,
wrong?
like any side effect, like it's mentioned that you have not going to the other part of it, you have allopathic medicine, there are bound to be some side effects. Homeopathy has no side effects, is usually believed. So, any modality that we are doing, does it have a positive effect only, or is there a residual negative effect that may or may not be there? Or maybe the person who's acting as a channel, as the vessel, connecting the energy, if I got it right, is not competent enough. So, is there any chance of something going wrong?
Okay, I'll tell you something, whether it is Reiki or any spiritual practice. Okay, if you are doing it right and you're doing it under the right master and following the process the way it is, any spiritual activity which is a time-tested, process, it cannot have negative, and it cannot have negative intentions manifesting for. And a lot of people believe that negative goal hoga to. Yeah. Now, anything where you are working with the universal divine life force can never do anything negative for anybody. It is not biased to any person, any soul, any jeev in any form. So when you're working with divine energy, you're always, especially I'm talking about Reiki, when you're working with the higher consciousness, the higher mind, the Reiki energy, it always takes care of that which is good and for the highest good of all. Okay, even if a person has a negative intention, it cannot happen. I'm talking only about the intention part. Okay, so even when we frame a Reiki intention within traditional Reiki, we always write this or that, this whatever I desire, or that which is for the highest good of all. जिसमें सबका भला नहीं, वो नहीं चाहिए. Because that creates another ripple of karma. If for me to get a job, somebody else who may have needed it desperately has to leave it. Something bad has to happen for another and I get victory out of it. That is not real achievement. That's not how we want to manifest any goal. So Reiki will never do that. Even if somebody desires, it can never happen through Reiki. That's not how it works. It has a higher intelligence, which has a divine universal wisdom, which will ensure only that which has the best interest of all the stakeholders involved will happen. So sometimes you may want X, you may get Y. But the understanding that this is happening for my higher good, that is where the surrender comes in. It's not very easy. When I say that complete surrender, it's to understand that whatever is unfolding for me is happening as per the higher consciousness. So I will be taken care of, and this is for my best interest, for the best interest not of the mind or my ego, but for my soul. This is for the best, highest interest for my Reiki is doing that which is for the highest interest for my soul. And I'm going to trust and walk in faith. Now, about the other form of side effect, what you can experience when you're going through Reiki, there can be a possibility that when you're channeling Reiki, you may feel a lot of things. Okay? Now, you can feel warmth. The way you feel warmth, you may feel cold, you may feel shivery, you may feel a tingling sensation, you may feel very amazing in your energy. Also, when there is an emotional release happening, you may also feel lots of anger, lots of sadness, whatever is the emotion that you have buried inside. Reiki has the ability to bring it up. So when those emotions come up to surface, they are actually coming up. It's not like you did Reiki and you're starting to feel angry. You did that, and that anger that you have suppressed within you has come up for healing. It comes right in your face, so you see it, and then you know that this, if I don't process this, it's not going to be, life doesn't work well. unless I go through this and I process this. So this way or that way, you're going to become aware and you're going to start working on that consciously. And as you work through those issues, you will, so again, certain emotions may become very prominent for you. Again, sometimes if the mental emotional release is very strong, you may tend to get a sore throat, you may tend to get headaches, you may tend to get, some people may end up getting diarrhea or vomiting sensation. When the body wants to throw out the toxicity, sometimes it can happen, and it is a welcome process. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's a welcome process. If there is so much baggage inside and you're going through a mental emotional release, it's good to release it and let it go. Allow it to flow out of your system. So that, and keep working on it. So we tell people, sleep well and stay more and more hydrated and keep doing more and more work, more and more energy work, more and more Reiki. And after a point, you will see that, kuch ek dino ka, maybe, 1 or 2 days when you go through that high, that release process. And then it slowly stabilizes. And then you see them after a month. And then you see a slight, very subtle shift. And then again, a subtle shift and a subtle shift. That's how it works. So yes, you will experience different kind of things, but it's not like a side effect that something is happening to you. Maybe you're going through a release process, and it's fine for that to happen.
So it is as good as when you take homeopathic medicines or Ayurvedic medicines, it is said, like the doctor tells you in advance, right? You might have certain side effects like that, as you rightly said, and then eventually the medicines would start working, and then so basically it is safe to say वो जड़ से उखाड़ देता है,
Yes.
correct, right? So if
Reiki
somebody,
heals from
yeah,
the root cause of the problem.
correct. So somebody is going through a depression, let's take an example, right? And they take sessions of Reiki sessions and it ensures that they, practice it every day. So it is safe that, depression is out of their life forever. Like if they continue to do the Reiki
You
healing
can
process.
overcome, you learn how to balance it. It depends on how chronic it is, but yes, it's totally possible, totally possible to get rid of it completely. It's possible to do that.
That's wonderful. So I think, which is why you say, right, you help people to know themselves better and work on self, and then automatically the world around them becomes beautiful.
Yes.
And Reiki, would it be safe to say Reiki works for everyone and in all situations?
Yes. Across religion, across gender, caste, any, if you are an energy body,
Mhm.
and हम बोलते हैं पत्थर में भी energy होती
Mm-hmm.
है. You see these charged crystals when you shop online, you'll see, charged.
हाँ,
What is that? Those are, some of them are Reiki charged crystals. So what are you charging? Your charge crystal is a piece of stone, right?
yeah.
How does it have the energy impact on you? When you charge it with Reiki, when you are charging it with a certain goal or a certain intention, and so many people are getting results. How is it working? So even inanimate things are a certain energy. They also have energy vibrations. And you look at a little bit of research, you will see that, when you chant certain things or you do Reiki or you do certain spiritual work on water or any object, you will see that electromagnetic field change. If you do little research on Kirlian photography, you will see the entire electromagnetic aura of even objects can change when you do different things, when you subject them to different sound frequencies or energy frequencies. So Reiki works on everything living and non-living.
मेरे दिमाग में एक just thought आया, which is why it is also said ना, माँ के हाथ का खाना इतना popular क्यों है? When mother cooks, like she cooks out of heart, right? And then when you go and eat the same food in the restaurant, you don't get the same emotions, right? The same energy. So the energy flows happens through a mother cooked food and what you eat in the restaurant. That is the reason might be it differs, right? That energy matters a lot.
By the way, since you brought up food, when
Yeah.
we eat, we Reiki charge our food also. We Reiki charge our
Wow.
water also. What
Okay.
you consume, even when you are giving medicine to someone,
Mhm.
you can put a positive intention and ask Reiki to do whatever is best for that soul.
Wow. Quite interesting. And which is why we used to pray, right? Like I also follow a practice of prayers
Praying over.
before consuming food. We have forgotten that practice. It was there or traditionally always in the houses. I think we all should inculcate that and come back, maybe if not Reiki, but at least those small prayers and offer it to the God and then have it.
Yes.
That's a wonderful thought. Sorry, Shrish, you were saying something.
No, perfectly, very, very aptly put, Priyanka. So the only disclaimer would be that it's not a magic wand. It's not magic. It's not a pill. It's a
You know,
painfully slow process.
it can be anything from magic wand to something that takes little time. I
Okay.
have had cases where there was a lady, she had not been able to conceive for 8 years. Within her 7 days of Reiki practice, she conceived.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is magic. And magic happens with all of us. I've had so many miracles in my life, I can't count them. Okay. But walking into a Reiki seminar expecting magic to happen next day may not be the right approach.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ready and that is, agar universe aligned hai, so it can happen like this. Like I've seen people in their first Reiki cycle, मैम मेरी शादी फिक्स हो गई, मैम मैंने घर खरीद लिया, मैम मेरी गाड़ी आ गई, whatever, I got a job. I've had people who have been on the bench and afraid of losing, and they'll be like, it's 20th and I have only 10 days left and I don't have any other job in my hand. Suddenly they'll land a project which is very good within the same organization. So magic is happening. It's there. It's possible. It's happening everywhere and all the time. And that is, when your alignment is strong and the timing and the universe is there to support you, if the timing is right, it will happen. But everything happens in divine timing. So you walk into the Reiki seminar or you walk into this practice knowing whatever has to manifest will manifest in divine timing. And you trust that it is happening at a pace that is right for you, for your soul, for your growth. So anything from instant to 6 months to whatever time it takes.
Walking in the session, just surrender and let the divine take over and let the process flow. What are the other myths about Reiki that you'd like to do away with or maybe throw some light on?
Okay. I get a lot of people who have actually, surprisingly, even some people who are grandmasters who have this belief कि मैं सिर्फ सिखाऊंगी, I will attune, I will not get into healing, because if I do healing for others, my energy will get affected. Now, thinking that by working with someone or by working with somebody's energy, you're going to attract that problem in your life, that's not how it happens. Okay. If you have met any healer or any psychologist, they are meeting a lot of people. What kind of people do we meet people with who have different kind of issues, right? Now, what is happening to that energy? It is an imbalanced energy. Okay. Now, if you're also an energy being and I'm also an energy being, and on a normal day-to-day basis, I come in contact. My aura comes in contact with your aura. My energy comes in contact with your energy. Am I going to get affected or not?
Yes.
Suppose you're very happy and I come and I'm very angry. All right. And I keep releasing my anger. After half an hour of that conversation, are you going to feel high and peaceful and mighty?
Not at all.
So what I'm trying to say is this attracting or absorbing energy is happening every day. Even when you're in the metro traveling to work, you don't know whose energy you're coming across. You're attracting, right? You go to a certain place, suddenly you're fine, and then suddenly you go to this place and then you come out feeling a totally different emotion. Why is it happening? Because you have encountered a certain, you're meeting different people with different energies, so energy vibrations, you do absorb a little bit here and there. Now, thinking that मैंने रेकी किया उनकी प्रॉब्लम मुझे आ गई, I'm starting to feel low because you will meet, if you're meeting people who are vibrating, you're going to feel that naturally. Okay? With or without Reiki, you're going to feel low when you meet somebody who's sad.
Yeah.
The difference is, if you have done your full body healing, if you have done your work to keep yourself centered, to keep yourself grounded, to keep your energy balanced, you are not going to get affected by it. And the moment you do get affected, if you feel that ye bahut zyada ho raha hai, take a break. Another thing that happens with people, they start, in Reiki, sometimes you feel the sensation that the other person. So suppose I'm channeling Reiki to you and I start feeling, naturally I get drawn towards, because we connect with the individual, I'll get drawn towards maybe a particular chakra. Now, when I'm placing my hand here, I may suddenly start feeling a certain sense of pain there. Why am I feeling that? Because Reiki is guiding me to the point where you have pain.
Oh,
It is only
deep.
guiding me to the point. अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं चलेगा where to put my hand, how am I supposed to help you? So sometimes we are naturally guided to wherever we need to put our palms. Now, it's possible you feel what the person is sensing. It's possible you feel that pain suddenly. You feel, if I'm sitting with a bunch of my students, I'll wonder who's having a right shoulder pain, because I'm suddenly feeling that while speaking. Now somebody may be experiencing something. 2 minutes you channel Reiki there and it's going to be fine. All right. So thinking that when Reiki is guiding you, people feel that unka pain mere andar aa gaya. Right? It's just telling you where it is. The moment you rub your palms, the moment you wash your hands, it's going to go. You're not attracting somebody else's problem. You cannot attract somebody else's karmic problem in your life. It's their karma. They have to bear it. They have to live with it. They will process it. They will heal it. So as a channel, you're just a channel. It's not like, मेरी energy वहाँ चली गई और उनकी energy यहाँ आ गई. That is not how it. First of all, you're not even working with your energy. You're working with the divine universal force. It's just flowing through you. So you're not losing anything and you're not taking anything from them. So I think this is one of the biggest myths, and it creates a lot of fear. I see a lot of people willing to work on themselves, not wanting to support others. Out of the fear that whatever's happening to them, I may start experiencing. That is not how it works. You are a Reiki channel. Energy is flowing through you. You're meant to do this beautiful work. Allow the energy to flow and disconnect and work on your energy vibration. Nothing will go wrong. Trust me, it's so many years. Every time, in fact, I tell my students also, every time you heal someone else, a part of you heals along with it. Because a healer only attracts a person with problems that are somewhere connected to them.
Oh, so it's that way too, is it? So you will attract a particular Reiki master when you have, when you are vibrating on the same energies. Is
I
that
would
what you're
not
trying
say
to say?
vibrating on the same energy, but the way I would say it is when a client comes to me, it's a
Mm-hmm.
mirror for me. And I wonder what within me has called for this.
Oh,
What within me needs healing, because of which the soul has come. Because जब मैं उनके साथ काम करूंगी, so I'm also going to become aware of all those issues. I'm going to become mindful of all those issues. I'm going to work on all those issues. And while I'm working with them, a part of me is also going to get present to it. It's also going to heal along with it. जब आपके लिए मैं throat पे हाथ रखती हूँ, it's my throat also where I'm touching, right? I'm also working on my energy.
mm-hmm.
So why will a certain person come to you with a certain challenge? Look within. You will find it. And you will heal it.
So the
It's
universe sends
very
you the, yeah, sorry, Priyanka. Please go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's a very different, energy today. This is a very different experience for me. I've not done many podcasts on this channel, very few of them, but definitely this has a very different aura altogether. Though we are doing it virtually, I'm feeling some kind of energy here. Yeah, so there's a lot of energy exchange happening even through the recording session. I must tell all our listeners about this. Sorry, over to you, Shirish.
So the universe sends you the person whom you can help. So that's the belief you go with. And we like it's universally said that coaches, like in our case, coaches also need coaches. So do the healers also need healers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have my master, and trust me, anything happens, the smallest thing, I will go running to her. Even today, the smallest doubt I have, I will go running to her even today. So master is always in, and in Reiki, lineage is everything. It's not about your certification or where you or which institute you came from. It is which master, what lineage you come from, what are the values you hold, and the energy of your master is everything. So it's like my moral compass. If I do something, I'll think if my master would she have approved of this? And if she wouldn't have approved of this, I will not step forward and do it. That is the connect. So you all, so for every Reiki channel, you always have your Reiki master. And of course, then for different things you will have, so you may have a different hypnotherapist. Like at some point of time, I had my Reiki master and I had a different hypnotherapist also. So I would do hypnotherapy with her as well. But when I wanted to do my past life regression and, get certain deeper answers, I had another person who was a specialist in that. So you always have your, how do you say, your healers and your mentors and your therapists and your coaches. And I think whether you are a Reiki master or anybody, all of us need that one person, or it could be multiple people for different things, where you can seek help, and you must seek help, because only when you are completely in your highest best, that's where you can help someone else. Otherwise, how are you going to make a difference?
As your master told you, right? You always go out and seek for help. This also I can resonate, and I think most of you should, right? Don't hesitate. People sometimes get go into a shell, right? And they find it difficult. How can I go and ask for help? Because of various conditioning that they have gone through. I should, especially with men, I can say that, right? थोड़ा उनका होता है, right? I am a guy. How can I go and ask for help? It's not good for me to go and ask for help. So I think you should drop that ego or shyness or that fear in you and really go out and seek for help. Be it any help, not only just Reiki healing, asking for life coaches or any sort of help that you need. Go out and seek for it. I think universe has a lot to give for all of you.
One of my masters always, my master tells me, always, kabhi bhi पूछने में शर्म नहीं रखना. Okay. So she has this saying, may you give more so you receive more, may you receive more so you give more, and you keep continuing the cycle of giving and receiving, so that you expand and blossom and make a difference to millions of lives. So sometimes you receive not just for yourself, but also stretch your hand for others and receive and ask for support, get all the support, get empowered, and then be there and support millions of other people. That's what you're here for. What's the use of life otherwise?
So I was about to tell Priyanka that we'll talk about this men part later on, sometimes offline. We'll discuss this later.
Sure,
Yeah.
Shreesh.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is that you've got bundled so much of information, so much of knowledge to share, and we could keep on going on Reiki for a long time. But since we have a foundation of time also, so before we move from Reiki, I just have one question to ask that for our listeners, that somebody who's wanting to get into the fold of Reiki and learn Reiki. So how long does it take for a person to start supporting others?
To start supporting others, practically the moment your attunement has happened, you can start supporting yourself and everyone around you.
Mm-hmm.
However, at level 1, what you're going to be able to do is touch healing. Okay, touch healing doesn't mean you're literally touching the person. You can touch the person also if both the giver and the receiver are comfortable with absolute touch. However, if you're not, you can keep your palm 1 inch away, half an inch to 1 inch away. So it's not literally touching people. That's another myth a lot of people have, and they don't go for Reiki because they feel, oh, somebody will have to touch me. Nobody needs to touch you, and please don't fall for things like that. It can be done at a distance of 1 inch or a little more. At your first level, you're going to be able to do touch healing, which means you're going to put your palms on different chakras of the individual's body and do healing. Now, after you have completed 21 days of healing, that means there are 28 points where we work on each chakra for 3 minutes. So 28 points into 3 minutes into 21 days without a break. After you've completed that, you're eligible for level 2. Now, when you get to level 2, again, you go through the level 2 attunement. And at level 2, there are certain secret symbols. I know they're out in the market, but in traditional Reiki, we still keep them secret. We don't even actually use the name loudly. All right. So there are certain symbols which we are attuned to, which are embedded or instilled in all of our chakras. in our energy where we are connected to the vortex again. And after that, you can connect to any energy through the symbols. So then you can start doing distance healing. So when you're healing when you're working on your own self, you can also channel Reiki to your mother and your father and your relationships, all your relationships, whoever you require to channel Reiki to. Or if I'm sitting here and I ask you for healing, then you can sit there and channel Reiki to me. You can also sit there and channel Reiki to your ancestors. Okay. So there we have a symbol called the connecting symbol that helps you to connect to the person's energy. Now again, believing there are a lot of YouTube videos where people, do good intent and they put in a lot of pure energy. And a lot of people feel that if I'm going to watch the video, I'm going to get healed. Of course, you're going to get, because the person who has infused that video with that energy has done it with amazingly pure and good intent. So you're going to benefit, but it's not going to be anything like getting direct healing from another person who is a Reiki channel. Because when we connect, at least what we require is the name, age, and current location of the individual. And if I don't know the person, I will also ask for the picture for me to be able to connect mentally with the individual. If you know the person, you don't need all of that, because the moment you close your eyes, you think of them and you are able to connect. So yes, after level 2, you can connect and help others. Level 1 also you can help others, but only through touch healing.
And in this process of getting yourself attuned, is there a specific time to it, or it depends on the individual's own desire and the capability of surrendering?
I did not understand.
When a person comes to learn Reiki, and you mentioned that they have to be attuned first themselves before they can go to the level 1. So this process of getting attuned, so is there a time limit to it, or it can take as less or as much time as it depends on the individual?
You become a Reiki channel only if you are attuned.
Okay.
So the first thing that has to happen in the Reiki seminar, of course, after a little bit of, what we do is initially there's a little bit of chakra therapy, chakra theory, and explaining what is Reiki, to help them understand what is it that they are getting into. So we help them understand what is Reiki, how does energy work, what are the 7 chakras, at least the basics, what are the minor points, and then the attunement is the main thing. Attunement has to happen. There cannot be any Reiki, course. You cannot be a level 1 channel unless you got attuned. So the first thing your master will do is to attune you only. Everything else happens later. Everything
so this
else
is what I was
takes
wanting to know. How much time does it take to get attuned? Like it's a fixed time, or it
It's
depends?
15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes it depends on from different masters have different techniques. So some may take half an hour also.
Okay.
And again, there are different ways of getting attuned. There are one-on-one attunements that happen. There are group attunements that happen. So depending on what the master, which lineage they come from, and however they do the attunement, yes, usually 15 to 20 minutes is good enough time for an attunement. That's
Okay.
how much.
So you mentioned that you also have done past life regression. Do you want to touch very quickly on that? How was your experience? Is it safe for people to do it? Maybe very briefly.
Is it safe for people to do it? Yes. Okay. Had it not been safe, it would not be there as a therapy.
Absolutely.
Is it necessary for everybody to do it? I would say no.
Okay.
Okay. Let's understand, when do we do past life?
Hmm.
When you don't get answers, when a person is very, very troubled, and when they have tried everything else and all other therapies, and still they are stuck at a point where without that answer they're not moving forward in the journey of healing. That is where if they're stubborn and hell-bent about knowing about it, only then and then please go ahead and do PLR.
Okay.
90% of the things get sorted with normal regression. Normal regression, or even all the way up to the womb, is absolutely fine. Please go ahead, do that by all means. That also don't, I have people who will say, I want to do regression. No, please don't decide what the doctor has to prescribe. Please allow your therapist to decide if it's required for you or not. If your therapist says, let's do regression, please go ahead and you can go all the way up to womb. I would suggest, if it's not required, don't go for PLR, just for the kick of it. As a therapy, yes, it's safe. Please, by all means, if it is really required, you may go ahead and do it to get your answers and heal at a deeper level. But I've seen a lot of people, because it is out on media.
Yeah.
I've had people who have come to me after going, I want to try it, how it feels. Just for that, please don't go and open a new Pandora's box. We all have enough of baggage and clutter in our current life, right? You have more than enough therapies available to explore and understand and heal through, and resolve the current life's situations. Unless there is a real dire need, I would suggest please don't experiment, because you don't know when you're going to go into that state, what you're going to see, how much you're going to see. You have no control over it, right? So sometimes I have seen people, they go to get X answer, they will get that answer, but you have seen in the process 4 extra things. What are you going to do with that extra knowledge? And sometimes it is not the most pleasant knowledge. Sometimes people may see themselves going through the death cycle again and again. It's not easy to see yourself dying like that. So since we do not know, it is safe, it is an amazing thing. Please go to an authorized PLR therapist who knows how to do it. And it's absolutely safe if you need it. But if you don't need it, I would suggest, please don't just do it to play around, or just to have an experience of it.
Yeah.
So, Delna, just I know. Sorry, Priyanka, it's just a follow-up question
No, I
here.
wanted. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So, you don't talk much about PLR and all. So, and you don't also teach PLR. But थोड़ा सा एक I just wanted to clear. It might be sound a stupid questions, but somebody who's brought up on those Hindi movies ना, जहाँ पे वो PLR कराते हैं कि आप पिछले जन्म में चले गए और वापस नहीं आ सकते, तो वो जाते कहाँ पे हैं और आते कहाँ पे हैं? So वो थोड़ा सा आप हमें बताओ.
आप कहीं नहीं जाते हो, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I've been through PLR. Trust me, when you're in that, if you don't want, you can just get up and walk out. You can just get up, open the door and walk out. You're totally in control. Okay, it's nothing like you're somewhere else and oh my God, you cannot come back. You're in your in your subconscious. You're in a deep state of trance. Yes. So you're able to experience. You're there. In hypnotherapy, this is what we say: you are there and you are here, both at the same time. Right? So that is where we access the deeper levels of the deeper layers of the subconscious. But you're absolutely, I'm talking only for myself, my experience. I was absolutely there every single time, and I have tried it 7 to 8 times. All right. I'm a hypnotherapist myself, so we studied it, and we studied it. I also do PLR. So trust me, you are very much here. And it is absolutely safe if you're doing it with a therapist who knows what they are doing. But as I said, again, I'm reiterating, if it's not required, don't jump into it.
Interesting. So you don't go anywhere. कहीं फंसने का चांस नहीं है.
So I think I might, Trish, I wanted to ask, in fact, the same question what you asked, right, sometime back. So glad that you asked about, how it shows in the movie, हम कहाँ जाते हैं, कहाँ आते हैं. To to ask a next question, completely like, did you come across any of your students or any of your people who approached you, they felt nothing? ऐसे भी कभी हुआ होगा ना?
Yes.
And how is that? Like, so what do they do? And what are the next step for such people? Like, who couldn't feel anything during the session?
You're asking during a Reiki session?
Reiki session, yes. So people might have come to you with a lot of high hopes, but maybe they are not surrendered yet. I don't know what happens with them, but ऐसे भी हुआ होगा ना? Like, people have not experienced anything. So what do they do after that? Like, what are the next steps for such people?
So what I tell my students is, feeling is not healing.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes we are not present. Sometimes our mind is little cluttered. Sometimes energy may not flow from every chakra. Sometimes certain chakras may be blocked. They may be low on energy. Some people are more sensitive to sensations, some are less sensitive to sensations. So, of course, when Reiki flows, a lot of people feel the experience, you will feel the warmth, you will feel the energy move. But, even today, there are times, a lot of times, when I do my full body healing, I'm not going to feel the same energy everywhere. I may feel there are certain chakras where you feel nothing, and it's all right. It's going to take some more time for it to open up, it's all right. Certain points of time, every day is going to be a different day. So every day there will be, it's not possible that all the 28 points you're going to feel amazingly, warm energy and great flow. Sometimes you may not feel anything when a person has gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of, when the wound is very deep or fresh, they may or may not feel anything at all because there's so many other things happening. You start feeling as you go into a sense of calm and it's not even that is not a criteria. Sometimes your chakras are very active, they're ready to heal. When you feel a lot of energy, that means there's a lot of work happening. That chakra is pulling in a lot of energy. Now it's not possible on day one every chakra of yours is going to soak in that much energy. It's possible, for example, for me, when I did my in Reiki we say this, there's a term called resistance. Resistance is not your conscious resistance. Sometimes, when a part of us, our shadow self or the inner child is so bruised, we may create events in our life where we resist healing. What do I mean by create events? I'm sitting to do my full body healing. My boss calls. Something urgent has come up. I will not be able to do my healing today. Or somebody texted me something. Now I'm feeling completely, out of balance and I may not be able to do my healing today. Electricity may go off. I may not be able to play my music today. So many things. Some neighbor may walk in. All kinds of things happen. And we somehow manifest them also. Like real things can happen where we manifest if we are resisting healing. Now, there has been a phase where for 6 months, I only couldn't feel my energy. What I'm trying to say is, if you would put your hand on me, I would feel the flow of energy. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But my own energy, when I put my hand on my own body, I wouldn't feel it. For 6 whole months. So I would put my hand on other clients, on other people where I would be channeling Reiki, and they would say, "Oh my God, it is so warm. I feel like I'm melting away." But when I put it on my chakra, I may not feel a thing. And I would just wonder, how is it that you feel so much and I'm not feeling? It's the same energy flowing, it's the same hands. But there are so many factors to it. So always I say, feeling is not healing. Trust, stick to the process, go through the process, keep doing your healing, and some point of time you will start feeling.
Okay, stick to it, follow the routine. At days you will feel really energetic, at days you will not feel anything. Just trust the process, surrender yourself, and continue with it. Should be the mantra.
Yes, stick to the process. That's the matter.
Yes. And what I hear and what I read about you, blend lot of modalities: Reiki, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, even numerology. So how do you decide for a particular client or for a particular person who's come to you what modality you have to use? Or it's a bundle that you then made and you do it. Go ahead with everything
So
that you've got.
the first session is always a normal psychotherapy session, a normal counseling session, where I get to understand the individual. Most times, because I'm a numerologist, I end up asking the person what are your birth numbers, because it helps me get a lot of perspective on their personality, on their struggles, on their strengths, on what is missing for them in their lives. And sometimes it's couples, so they come or they come together as a family. So there's the husband, wife, and the kids. So it helps me understand uh, personalities and the dynamics that could have been that they would be experiencing because of the dynamics of their numbers. And through that tells me a lot about the individual. So that tells me what kind of therapy will work, what will not work, what kind of individual are they. So if you are very how do I say, if I know that your life struggle is around this, then the first question will be around that particular area of life, and then the individual, when we open up, it gives me more perspective. So that point of time, depending on how they sometimes they go through a release, so on the spot there is a certain therapy required. It could be EFT or hypnotherapy, whatever is required based on the reaction or based on the way the client is sharing what they are sharing, and again based on the goal they have. So before every session we understand what is the goal. I always ask, what is it that brings you here today? And based on that, in the moment, whatever is required, sometimes it's only counseling or talking, sometimes it's sharing about their numbers, sometimes it and then as we understand their fears, their situations, their stories, the trauma, and they say this is it, then we make the next couple of sessions are about identifying all the issues that we want to work on. And then slowly as we identify, then based on what it is, the relevant therapy will be used. So if there is fear, then maybe we use a little bit of exposure therapy or a little bit of hypnotherapy to work on that. Sometimes if you don't know it, we go back in the timeline, use a little bit of NLP. Sometimes you can't forget something, then we do certain other NLP processes to sort of reduce that the impact or the impact of that memory, slowly dissolving it. So depending on what comes out of the session, we sort of plan forward. It's always like step-by-step thing.
Now that you're talking about numerology, I'm trying to put you on spot here, Delna. Maybe there are just 9 numbers, 1 to 9. Any one word or a piece of advice, or maybe just, which color to wear, anything that comes to your mind randomly for each number, it will benefit our listeners, right? Maybe we can start with number 1 to 9, if that's okay with you.
Yes. So I'm going to talk about actually, we should not do it like this because there's so much dynamics.
I understand.
There may
Yeah,
be a certain color which is your power color, but there could be
right.
certain other things. If you have another anti number present, you must not be
Mhm.
using that power color.
No, just anything random that comes to your head, mind for each numbers, like maybe quickly in a word or two,
So,
not in detail.
so strength, I would just say color strength. I would say for 1 and 9, uh, red is your lucky color or your strong color. For 2s and 6s, white is something you can use. For 6, additionally, you will use silver also. Silver, blue, white. These are the colors that work for number 6 people. Then number 3s, you can use yellow, right? Number 4, the color is actually supposed to be black. For 4, 7, and 8, the color is black. But as a healer, I do not suggest black to anybody. So
Okay.
I look at their other strong number and say, whatever is your other strong number, you wear the power color for that. Okay,
Thank
not
you.
black. Black is something we try to avoid as much as possible. So again, number 5 is green. Number 6 I shared, white, silver, blue. Number 7 is black again. So again, use your other power color. Number 8, black again, use your other power color. And 9 is red. So these are the basics. But yes, don't just experiment. Of course, you can experiment and see how it works. But if you really want to get in-depth understanding, please see a numerologist who will see all your numbers, and
Yeah.
not just your numbers, also the numbers of your spouse, if you have one or you're connected to one, because that has an impact.
Thank you so much, Delna.
So a lot of reels are coming these days on the social media and find how to find
Yeah.
your number. Is it with the date of birth or is it combination of date of birth or year of birth? How do you calculate a number for the
There are
person?
different number calculations for which there are different things, and I'm sure all the reels, I mean, whoever is sharing must be they are doing it the right way. Uh, there are 3 numbers of destiny that we say. One is your driver number, the date of birth. Matlab, if you're born on 25th or 26th or 15th of a certain month, the first 2 digits, the date on which you're born, that is your driving force. That's your strength. That's your ultimate strength. That's your power. All right. Then you have your life path. Life path connects to your life journey and the life lessons that are connected to this journey. So what you're moving towards, what you want to conquer, what you want to establish. And it becomes your strength eventually as you learn, because life will keep bringing you back to situations where you have to learn that life lesson and move forward. So it will eventually, it's also it turns into a strength. So that's also a strong number or a strong number energy for you. And the third is your name number. So the alphabets in the name, each alphabet is associated with a certain number energy. And then again, that is a very detailed thing, because the name number also has certain other number calculations. As you said, there are so many different other variations. So then there is the soul urge, which is what you feel, what you are inside. Then there is the personality number or your expression number, which is how the world sees you, right? So there are all of these other combinations that are there that are connected to your name number. Then there is a maturity number, which starts to play after a certain age, right? So that energy starts to become active.
I think she's pointing towards me when she talks about it.
All of us have a maturity number. It's just that after a certain age, there is a certain other additional number energy that starts getting activated for us. So we understand that, अच्छा ये इस, numerologists tell you ना, इस age के बाद ये इस वाले साल में आप ये कर सकते हो. One more thing becomes active for you.
Correct.
Okay. So that is how they calculate and predict. They tell you that after this year, no, you can do this after this particular period. So that's where your maturity number comes in play. Then you have your personal year that is happening. So this current year, how is it going to be for you? Then some people go all the way to calculate personal month also. And I think that's a little too micro, but yes, people do that. There are all kinds of predictive calculations.
If you are available, I think we should do another podcast on numerology altogether. The time is not enough to discuss it right now today.
मेरे तो maturity number बहुत सारे activate हो गए होंगे because of age. So Priyanka, I think it's time we move towards her initiative of helping women. That's something I really wanted to touch on, and I think Delna would also like to delve a little bit on that. Her initiative of helping 1 lakh of women, and how does she go about it, the process, and what actually brought her to this initiative. That I would like to hear about it also.
Yes. So Sirish, what brought me to this initiative is when I started my therapy practice. Somehow, as you say, the master attracts, or what you start attracting the right kind of people automatically. It's not like you have to plan something. So somehow I started getting a lot of women who were struggling with self-love issues, self-esteem issues, toxic relationships. Of course, there are other things also, like illness related also, OCD also, schizo, all the other things as well. But mostly, I saw that a lot of women were struggling with this whole phase of being in a toxic relationship. Now, be it with the partner, be it with the parents, be it with the in-laws, or some other person in our life who there is a deep karmic pattern or relationship with. So this toxic relationship was a very strong, common thread. And that is where I started, and I saw them in a very broken state. And because being in this field for such a long time, I understand what it is to feel empty, what it is to feel broken, what it is to feel like ab sab khatam ho gaya hai. Right? So Kintsugi, as the word goes, Kintsugi is a Japanese art. It is an art of, how do we say, not fixing. Fixing is a very wrong word, but putting together broken pottery and joining it with molten gold or platinum. And it symbolizes taking the broken pieces of life, joining them, bonding them together with a certain power or certain invaluable strength that you build within you, and walking with your scars with pride, not feeling shame about it, but acknowledging each scar, each piece of brokenness as an invaluable part of your life that taught you what you do not want, what you do not want to be, what you will tolerate, and what you will never tolerate in your life. And with that clarity, when you build yourself and you empower yourself with all the tools, techniques, and build your self-worth to a point that takes you to being that priceless piece, that priceless masterpiece that is put together. So in Japan, this the masterpiece, the piece that they join together after the art is complete, those pieces are extremely expensive. So the whole journey from brokenness to acknowledging, to accepting, to working on yourself, to molding yourself back together and building yourself into that priceless masterpiece that you were always meant to be, wearing your scars with pride. That is the Kintsugi Mastery journey. And that's what I intend to do with women who come from this space of toxicity, brokenness, the experiences that they have. It's a long journey, and it's a lot of work. But yes, that is the target, and we do it in two ways. So I always tell them on day one: emotional independence and financial independence. Emotional independence and financial independence, and they have to go together, because even if one pillar is loose, then you're going to fall and crumble again. It's not financial independence because we want to make, it's about feminism or anything. It's just about not being emotionally or financially dependent on any other soul, not about your partner or on any other soul. Being self-sufficient, and that we do through three things: through energy work, through mind mastery, and then there is a pillar of occult. So we do energy work, mind work, occult work, and then we work on stabilizing and elevating. That's what the program is all about.
I'm taking time to actually sink in the information that you just shared, and it is very, very invaluable. There are so many. I would not want to call it just women, but there are so many people out there, who are going through a emotions, turmoil of emotions, and this is going to help them tremendously. Delna, you are on a very great mission, and I hope you make it big. You cross 1 lakh women that you are willing to help, and you go there and make a lot of people and women happy out there. Thank you so much, Delma, for doing this.
Yes, I hope so too.
Delna, you mentioned toxic relationships, and one thing which I've seen is that most of the people don't realize that they are in a toxic relationship, or they realize it too late. By that time, the scars are too deep. So, what are the red flags that you like to point out? A few red flags cannot be obviously a very specific, a generic red flags that one should be very cautious of and be very mindful of.
Actually, it wouldn't be right to say we don't realize. We realize. On day one, you realize. Your heart knows it when someone didn't treat you right, doesn't it?
But you don't want to believe it.
You don't want to acknowledge it.
Acknowledge
you believe it. You know it. You don't want to acknowledge it because that fear of, oh my God, what if I lose this also, is so strong. Because sometimes the need to be accepted, the need to fit in, the need to be part of something is so strong that you're willing to ignore. Haan, ye to chalta hi hai. And we're also groomed like that. Now it's okay. Now you should learn to tolerate. It's all right. Now it's all right. It's beautiful to tolerate. That's a virtue. But we must know what we want to and what we don't want to tolerate. So it's not that we don't see the red flag. We all see the red flag. We are ignoring it because we are looking at in hope of something bigger and better in return for that. So it's okay. I had this amazing client. She said, every time I said, she would tell me this happened. And I would say, अच्छा, तो फिर भी तुम नहीं छोड़ना चाहती हो? He says, हाँ, but वो मारता तो नहीं है ना. All right. And every statement, so she would tell me something which is so traumatizing, and I would feel, even after this, you're not willing to acknowledge it. But her benchmark, because society tells, or in her head, that there is a certain threshold she has decided. जब वो मारेगा तब मैं decide करूंगी this is toxic. So all of us see the red flags, but we have decided, we all have a threshold benchmark till the point we reach the threshold, we are going to tolerate it. We have mentally decided, we made peace with the fact that I'm going to tolerate all the nonsense till it gets to this point, and this is the point of break time. Now, this is a subconscious thing. So what are the red flags? Red flags are when you're giving more than what you're receiving. I'm not saying you should not give. Please give, be the giver in the relationship. You will get abundantly blessed through other relationships. But it's when a combination of all these things start to happen, then it becomes toxic. When you are giving more and receiving very little, when you're being manipulated, when you're being told that, when everything suddenly seems to be your mistake only, when his mistake or her mistake also becomes, oh, you're interpreting it wrong. When the person keeps getting caught doing something, or when certain things don't match, they don't add up. And even after that, there is a justification. When there is there's too much showering of love to cover up something, some nasty fight, right? You had something, the person, something didn't add up. You had a not so pleasant situation. Next day, wow, gift is coming. Next day, suddenly they cancel all their plans to be with you. Sudden showering of love after something not so pleasant. All right. Sometimes it's out and out narcissist. They don't care. It's not even so sugar coated. You know that they are not treating you like so. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. All of this, of course, is a very clear red flag. That is out and out. Then again, manipulating you, disconnecting you from your loved ones, isolating the person. The first thing a very narcissist person will do is to isolate you from the people who love you the most, because they know that this is your support system. So they will cut off the pillars that support you in the first place. So you have nowhere else to go. Then what happens? They become your only pillar of support. So they have more control over you. So then comes the control dynamics, anger issues, and a lot of people believe, that this anger issue is now, because there's so much of self-help. So we read, so we say it's coming from their childhood trauma. It's a problem they have, but he or she has anger issues. They never knew better. My question is, they never knew better. It's good to understand, but are they willing to know better? Is the question. There is only a point till which you can say this was a problem, and I'm willing to acknowledge that this has happened because of my past trauma. The question next is, am I willing to work on it to make this relationship work? Whether it's any relationship. I may have an anger issue, but if I see it is ruining a lot of things, then am I willing to take responsibility to go and fix it, to do anything about it? If the answer is no, and if you see there is zero pattern or zero intent to work on themselves, it's never going to change, I promise you. People think, अरे शादी हो जाएगी तो चेंज हो जाएगा, बच्चा हो जाएगा तो चेंज हो जाएगा, और बड़े हो जाएंगे तो चेंज हो जाएंगे, ऐसा हो गया तो चेंज हो जाएगा, अरे जॉब में स्टेबलाइज हो गए तो चेंज हो जाएगा, अरे मैडम फाइनेंशियल बर्डन है, ये वाला स्ट्रेस है, वो वाला स्ट्रेस. You know what? The stress will keep changing. They're not going to change if they don't intend to change. Because if they intended to change, they would be willing to walk with you to the same therapist or any other and fix it, or at least start taking the first step towards it. So person who's not willing to do it is a major red flag. Yes, and there are many more. Gaslighting and all of those are.
So Priyanka, I'll just add another point to it, and which I think is very important, because I've seen a lot of independent, lot of educated, well-read women who can arrange for finances also for themselves, even if they are not working. If they go out and they can earn money, but the common thing जो बोलते हैं ना, ठीक है हमारे साथ ऐसा हो रहा है पर हम बच्चों के लिए रुके हुए हैं. He is a good father. He may not be a good husband. So what do you want to tell to such women who are going through all this, thinking that we are doing it for sake of our children? So what was the message that you like to give them?
It depends on how toxic it is and what is the case. In certain cases, it actually works out well. कि चलो यहाँ से ये नहीं मिल रहा है, but children are very well taken care of, and other things are all right. It may not be that toxic that they want to move out, and that is a very personal choice. And as a therapist, we put everything in front. You cannot advise. goes beyond a point and the person cannot bear it, of course you are there. I'm there to support and help them out. I've been on the call so many times saying it's all right. If the person is beating, I'm holding the call your neighbors, get this sorted and get out of the house. But sometimes again it depends on the father child bond, how the other parent or even the mother, why should we just say that, right, on the other partner, on the bond they share. And it depends on how other things are in the dynamic. So sometimes maybe that one relationship in isolation may not be working, but there are a lot of other factors which are working very well for the individual, and it's an individual's choice to, how we say, accept people and situations as they are and make peace with it and continue. However, if it goes beyond a point, and that point is something as a therapist we help the individual discover, not decide for them. So when it goes beyond that point, then of course बच्चे भी वही देखने वाले हैं. They're going to grow up with that experience of that other toxic parent. So think, what is it that the child is gaining from it, and what is it that they are losing from it? And with complete mindfulness, analyze the entire holistic picture and decide for yourself what is it that you want your child to imbibe. Then you can take a call. So it's not an easy decision to make. It takes a lot to get to that point, a lot of clarity and a lot of analysis. And each individual will have their own threshold and their own ideology and their own, like I've seen women who will say, ये तो जन्म जन्म का साथ है मैम, ये तो अभी जीना मरना इधर ही है. Then we teach them how to build boundaries within the same thing. Because आपको वही जीना है, then you made a decision that, so they will say, I don't want to separate. I just want to be able to live with this person. But you teach me how to, so that I can have the least damage. Then we work on self-esteem issues and drawing boundaries and how you can use better communication, or how you can try to, again, it depends on from person to person, from situation to situation. But yes, both ways is possible. And I think before women walk in, they usually know what they want. Sometimes it changes their mind when they start seeing the level of toxicity, or when they start seeing things for what they are. They may change their mind and take a different call. I have also had women who have walked in after 15 to 20 years of marriage saying, I have just come to you, मुझे divorce चाहिए, आप बताओ कैसे होता है. And I have seen those women also reunite with their husband. And their families are blossoming today, reuniting, and they're finding their own new way of love and expression and life. And they're learning. I won't say it's all perfect, but they're learning, and they're in that learning curve, but they're making it work. So it can happen both ways.
Glad that you touched this point, actually. I always had this question back of my mind when, as most of you know, I am also raised by a single mother, right? So I'm glad that you said this, because I always thought, like, when somebody is reaching out to seeking help when in a toxic relationship, it always comes to an end where they part ways. I'm glad that you touched point. It is both way round, right?
Yes.
It is not mandatory that you always part ways, but you always, educate yourself. You find your boundaries and you make it work too. So I'm
Yes.
glad that it's that way too. It's
To make it work, that is the underlining thing. To
yeah.
make it work, that which is best for all. Again, we surrender to Reiki. See, that
Mm-hmm.
which is best for all, whether uniting or parting peacefully. But whichever way, it has to be
Mm-hmm.
done maturely, amicably, peacefully, and in a loving manner, respecting the other soul. Because we're all playing our parts in the soul journey.
Correct.
So let's not make it dark and messy.
Very well said, Delna. I'm so happy we had this recording together, and I don't know, perhaps Priyanka, but I could feel the energy, going up and down. And when we started talking about the toxic relations, I could feel that little bit of energy levels getting depth, and it usually happens. So I'll be a little selfish now, Delna, and ask a very selfish question. So, and this is for all our coach fraternity. So as we coaches, life coaches, when we have sessions, we do have even in virtual energy transfers. Priyanka, I've mentioned this to Priyanka. I've had fortune of having very positive energy, feel a very positive after the session, and also some negative feelings after that. What should we do as coaches to maintain our energy balance after a session?
Okay. What should we do is each one of us, I think, has our own way of understanding spirituality, and there is no one way. Okay. There is, I think, everything works. Yoga works, music works, dance works, uh, pranayama or breath work works, kriya yoga works, meditation, transcendental meditation works, guided meditations work. For some people, journaling works. For some people, nature therapy works. For some people, playing music works. You can find your peace in anything. I tell women, even when you're chopping vegetables, you can find your peace in that. But whatever it is that you find your peace in, where your happiness lies, do that thing at least for 10 minutes a day. So for me, it's Reiki. For you, it can be dance. For somebody else, it can be music. For somebody else, it can be just sitting and chatting with your friends for 10 minutes and laughing it out. Whatever it is that brings that burst of joy into your life, 10 minutes, please do it. All right. Second thing, I would say a little bit of breath work, deep breaths, anulom vilom pranayam. Even if you're not doing too much of deep kriya work, it's a very good way of regulating your breath and your prana. So little bit of breathing, breath work exercises can actually help you calm down. Even as therapists, when somebody has an anxiety attack, what do we do? Box breathing, right? Breathe in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold. So there are different rhythms in which you can breathe, but at least do one kind of breath work exercise on a daily basis. Little bit of body movement, and whatever you love the most, do it for 10 minutes and you're good.
The underlying message
But
is
if you're
work on
overworked,
yourself.
please disconnect and take a break. Don't overwork yourself, because then you can't give your best to your clients.
Sure. Underlying messages, like I said again, you have to work on yourself. So thank you, Delna. Thank you so much. And thank you, Priyanka. We had a wonderful time. We discussed so much. There's still a lot to discuss. Maybe we'll connect again and do that. And thank you, listeners, for listening to our podcast. And if you like it, please do subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Sirish, and thank you, Priyanka, for having me over. It's been a super duper fun experience sharing, and I think while I was sharing with each of you, I was also, it took me down the memory lane. So many things I realized, so many things I learned, even in the process of sharing. So it's been a beautiful, I think, 2 hours.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
us also.